it wasn't until December that I was able to seriously think of the idea of creating this nonprofit. And I knew I wanted to name it the Bob Engstrom Foundation, simply because of what happens when you hear the name Bob Engstrom. And if you knew him, that name just brings a smile to your face. And so Bob would always tell us that if he only impacted one person through his story, it would be enough for him. And I would always tell him that through Westy's in the last 3 years, that he had already impacted hundreds, if not thousands. And one of my last conversations with him is I promised him that because of your story, thousands of lives will be impacted.
My name is Amy Plotz, and I am a real estate agent here in the community. And how I learned about Westy's was from one of my clients. She said, "Hey, I heard this new organic juice bar was opening up," and she was familiar with my story, just being recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And she said, "Maybe you can go over to Westy's." And my brother flew in from New Jersey to go to doctor's appointments with me. Specifically at that time I was doing radiation, so he was helping me with those treatments. And then we both came in here together and had no idea what to expect or just no idea really about nutrition and how it could aid in cancer patients. I just had really no clue. We had to start from really ground zero with me.
So my dear, sweet friend Laura, she's my best friend. We had quite an age gap to be best friends. Actually, it was probably a little odd to most people, but she had had 2 different kinds of breast cancer for, at that time, 12 years, and discovered Westy's in the pop-up over here about 3 years ago in the parking lot. But during that time, we together would come get salads and juices to help as a natural way to help heal her cancer through antioxidants and things of that nature that would help her cancer heal.
My name's Maggie. My first experience with Westy's was on a visit to my chiropractor. And there was a pop-up outside the office. And I was driven by curiosity to see what these guys were selling. And I found out that Westy's were offering samples of their fresh pressed juices. And then I enjoyed talking to T and Allison and their staff. I really admired that they'd started the business for their brother-in-law who was going through cancer treatment, and to support his treatment and recovery by giving him clean food. I thought that was a great reason for starting a business.
So Bob came into our family when I was about 10 years old. And my older sister ended up marrying Bob. And even though he's technically a brother-in-law, he was my big brother. And he was with me through my junior high years, high school years. And so we always had a lot of fun. He is the baby of his family, so he's always up for a good time. And he is one of the most kind-hearted, selfless men I know. He is always willing to lend a helping hand, whether it's through moving, yard work, fixing things around a house. He was so helpful and so selfless to anybody and everybody, neighbors, families, strangers.
In the summer of 2018, my brother-in-law was diagnosed with a very aggressive type of cancer. And the news rocked our family. We're a very, very close family. And we quickly rallied together and try to figure out a way to come alongside him, what he needed the most. And so I believe it was my father-in-law that suggested juicing. And so we started looking at the calendar and the schedule and what each of the families could actually do for him if we were to get juice for him for every day. And the cancer was so great that he would have had to have a high dose of micronutrition all week long, every day. And so the only way to do that quickly was to get it from juice.
I remember after his diagnosis, when we would tell his story to our friends or people we would meet, they would often say, well, can I have Bob's number? And Bob would always say, absolutely. He never hesitated. I can't tell you how many times people texted him or called him when they were just diagnosed with cancer. And he would sit there on the phone with them or meet them or text with them and just tell them his story, what he was doing, offer them hope, offer them guidance, offer them encouragement. And so that is what we want to pass on. We want to offer encouragement and joy and hope and be as selfless as Bob was to the community and to other cancer warriors that are battling.
I first walked into Westy's a little bit over a year ago by accident, and I've been a customer ever since. Pretty cool first interaction. So I walk in and I order a smoothie. The owner immediately walks around the counter, shakes my hand, introduces himself, gets to know me. It's definitely something that you don't see every day now.
I've known Westy's business for over 3 years, and I've had the pleasure of being able to work alongside each other and really kind of bring the community together. We've done fundraising events together. I've been able to see how much Westy's has grown as a business and how much of an impact all of them have had on the community.
20, 30 minutes go by, we're talking about business, we're talking about life, and he has his employees put together 5, 6 different samples of smoothies and juices. Next thing you know, I'm walking out of there with the whole store.
So after much prayer, I found Westy's organic juices, and that was back in July of 2022. I had been feeling unhealthy for quite some time, and I wanted an organic option to lean on. And my first interaction with Westy's team was a positive one, caring and encouraging. And Westy's made it a mission to reach out to our community for the well-being of us all. And as a testimony from myself and my family, Westy's provided discounted juices and also gave us free juices, healthy shots during my time in chemotherapy, and even to the point of delivering them to our door for free.
But before I leave, I noticed this prayer wall down the hall, which is pretty heavy. So I walk down there, I read a couple prayers, and I put one on there myself. Now, that's one thing that Westy's does for the community that just goes unmatched. You don't see that anywhere here in the valley.
I think one of the most beautiful parts is just the prayer over Laura was special to her, to me, for sure. And then just knowing, like, okay, she has a non-mobile, non-speaking daughter at home who she can't leave sometimes, and you guys would just deliver it to her house. And it was just such a relief, I think, to her, to be like, okay, I don't have to worry, like, somebody's helping me out here, like, above and beyond.
You just can't imagine all of the costs, especially trying to eat as organic as possible, limiting as few toxins as you can, because you're already just on an uphill battle. And to start off the day with the proper nutrition, it allows you to actually function throughout the day, which initially when I got diagnosed, I had no idea, and I was in very bad shape. So to be able to be here a year later, come out of it, just be filled with energy, even though I still have stage 4 cancer that I'm fighting. But I'm able to do it a lot easier with the proper nutrition, being able to come here and just have my friends, when they say, what can we do to help you? I'm like, can you just give me a Westy's gift card, please? And they're like, okay, no problem.
You can definitely tell that they truly care for everyone that walks through that door. Now, when I first heard about the Bob Foundation, that hit me pretty personal, actually. 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with something myself, and it could make you feel like your world stops. And it takes a village. And in my eyes, between nutrition, faith, and community, powerful things can happen.
I had my annual mammogram and then was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had a successful hip surgery. I was back walking around the neighborhood in no time. 8 weeks after that, I had my breast cancer surgery, which went well, and then radiation therapy. And after all this, I came back. I feel strong and healthy. Lots of prayer, lots of visits for juices to Westy's.
It starts with nutrition. That is your ground floor. If your nutrition's not right, you're gonna have an uphill battle. So by coming here, able to get smoothies, the green drinks, do my turmeric and ginger shots, all of that, you'd be surprised. For inflammation, if you can control the inflammation, you win. You win the game. Because inflammation, it's not so much the cancer, it's the inflammation that the cancer causes. And if you can somehow tap in to how your body reacts with various foods to stop that inflammation in its tracks, you'll be able to do quite a bit. And you'll feel good doing it too. So that's been a huge help. And I knew none of this before I came here. Our talks, you helping me out on all of the nutrition stuff has been, just life-saving, really, because I had absolutely no clue about anything. Absolutely no clue. And you just learn as you go. It's been a year, and yeah, I am much stronger, healthier than probably I've been in a really long time.
When Bob was first diagnosed, he stuck to a nutrition plan, and our family rallied behind him because we saw how demanding it was on him and my sister. And so between my parents and us and other family members and friends, we were able to juice for him weekly so that he was consuming fresh pressed juice daily. And when we would get together for dinners, we would always try to accommodate Bob as well. So for example, if you come into Westy's, you'll see some chocolate date truffles, and those were some of his favorites. Bob decided to cut sugar out completely. And so some of the items that we sell here at Westy's were birthed through being able to support Bob and come alongside Bob. There were days where he didn't feel good. There were days he felt great. And so the whole family came together in order to help him.
I never thought I would find myself facing cancer, but I was able to talk to T and Allison about their experience with their brother-in-law and everything they'd done for him.
I know in the deepest part of my heart that nutrition helped Bob. He had strength like I've never seen during the toughest times in his life, even when he didn't feel good. I am so thankful for the path that he chose with nutrition.
I see a lot of people struggling, obviously, when they're going through a lot of health issues. One thing that stands out to me is the fact that you're willing to open a nonprofit to help cover those costs. There's a lot of people that can't afford that. They go into a ton of debt, medical debt, and it's debilitating. And it's debilitating financially, but also mentally when you're having to struggle and deal with all of that.
Through the Bob Engstrom Foundation, we want to be able to alleviate some of the financial burden that these cancer warriors have. It was brought to our attention through Bob's battle just how expensive everything is. And so we're trying to bridge a gap that insurance doesn't cover. Bob was so blessed with the community he had around him to help support him financially and through other means as well. And so through the Bob Engstrom Foundation, we want to be able to do that. For the last 3 years through Westy's, we've been able to offer a discount on juices, or we just give the juices to newly diagnosed warriors that come in here confused and just looking first for any kind of information.
There's actually a customer who was sitting here having a smoothie, and he saw an interaction that happened between someone who was fighting cancer, who was coming up. They had just come from their oncologist and said that they were diagnosed with a type of cancer. And so they heard about juice, and so we decided to educate them, obviously, and lined up all the juices that we said, hey, we think this could work for you. At least try this, let's see if you like it. And it was a significant amount of juices along with another book. And we said, this is, just take it. You've had enough news today that we don't need to charge you here for this. And so, of course, the customer is very grateful. We asked if we could pray with them, and they never say no. And so we do, and we get to know each other that way because they come back or they call in or they text in, and we get updates from them. And so everybody's here is local, and so they always come back. So we've built this community. Well, that customer that was sitting there watching said that we should start a nonprofit. We should start somewhere. We should have something where he could chip into, is really what he was trying to get to. And that's what people wanted to do. They heard these stories, and he wasn't the only one. And so they're like, well, how can we help? How can we help? It's really cool. You're giving away juices and resources, and you're helping all these people. What can we do to help? Where can I give you a check or whatever? We've had people give us cash and said, this is the next round for the next person. Which to me, it's mind-blowing. It's awesome that people would be that generous, that eager to help, and that would want to partake.
You just have no idea. It's not just financial. That's always great. But to establish a community where somebody could go and, like, say you meet somebody and you just give them my number and they text me and I can just lift them up. It's things like that it's just a ripple effect for what you're doing, and that it just spreads throughout the community, and it will definitely grow. It will grow without a doubt.
I know there's a lot of people, like the fundraising that we did when we teamed up for 2 women in the community that were battling cancer, and they were not asking for help. We had to come to them and make sure that we as a community could support them. And it goes to show, there's a lot of people that are dealing with medical issues, cancer, whatever it is, and people are not willing to ask for help.
And so what we've come to see is that it takes a lot of people to help. And if you are unlucky enough to not have family, I don't know how those people do it. But if you are one of those and you don't have the family and the support or the friends, hey, at least you've got a juice bar, maybe, that can stand in for that. And we'd be glad to do that and just hear your story, get to know you. This is why we started Westy's in the first place, is to be there for those who are faced with this horrible news.
I just feel at home here, with all the prayers on the wall and the positive support from everybody here, from T and the staff, and the fact that they help out people. I get a discount for being a cancer warrior, and I find that really helpful.
The financial piece is beautiful. I think it's also super encouraging to know, like, there's a company that's gonna go after this to give you some financial relief, because having cancer is expensive, but also they just care about you and they love you. And they're showing it this way. If they didn't, they would have never done it that way.
I mean, it's a miracle to be able to help people out in that capacity. You have no idea what a relief it is not having to worry about how am I going to get, because even if you were to go to the store and purchase all these things and try to do it yourself, the cost would be astronomical. Yeah, so just being able to come here and just have it done saves time, and then you know it's done right and you're getting the proper nutrition and you're able to scale it, measure it, so you know that you get everything you need for the day. It's life-saving, really is.
Simply by having this nonprofit, now, just like that gentleman, people can pitch into it if they want, and it could be small, large amounts, whatever they want, but everything is going to go to giving cancer warriors that come through here much more significant discount. And eventually what we want to get to is that we don't charge for cancer patients.
I'm just very fortunate that you're here and that you help me in the ways that you do, and I just feel blessed.
We believe the Bob Engstrom Foundation would be a blessing to the community. It would enable Westies to reach out to more people that are hurting and that are in need. It would help provide juices for them when they are worried about their health and their medical bills. And it definitely would be a great support in their most difficult time.
As a business owner and just a woman in this community, I always want to know where I'm donating to. And I feel like Westy's is a place that I come, I support, I see the impact that they're doing on this community, and I'm excited to actually have a place that I know where I'm donating to and who it's going to impact. They've already made a big impact on this community, and this is only going to be so big for everyone in our community, especially those that are battling with cancer.
So on July 1st in 2024, we opened Westy's, but unfortunately Bob had went into the hospital the night before due to severe headaches. It was found that he had a very rare and aggressive form of cancer. The diagnosis was only a few weeks. So now Bob had a completely different fight on his hands. In August 2024, Bob did pass away. But I know Bob loved Westy's. I know he loved this place and the vision behind it. I remember him sitting on the couch behind me, and he would, he told me how great this place was and how proud of it he was. And so through the Bob Engstrom Foundation, we want Bob's legacy to live on. We want his love for others, his joy for life, his faith in the Lord, his encouragement to anybody he could give encouragement to. We want all that to live on through the Bob Engstrom Foundation.
If you only heard a handful of his stories and a little bit about his fight with cancer, I guarantee you just the stories alone would energize you and would give you encouragement and would give you, would refuel your tank to fight.
I think the Bob Engstrom Foundation would be a blessing to so many people.
The foundation would be just a great opportunity for Westy's Juices to be an outreach, to reach the community, to bring support. It's very difficult for all these folks to face financial needs and to be support for them would be great and awesome. And I really appreciate Westy's for stepping in and doing this. And we really support that mission and goal. And we pray for that to continue to move and lead.
Just every morning I'm so grateful for this life and being healed. So that's why I've got to keep eating good food to stay healthy. That sucker's not coming back.
I'm excited to see what they do with this Bob Foundation. I'll support you guys any way I know how to.
I look forward to making donations and to being a part of that impact too.
The Bob Engstrom Foundation. Make sure everybody donates.
And so for us, this foundation is a lot. It's a lot more than we bargained for sure. Launching into it is going to be both joyous and bittersweet at first, but it's definitely needed. And we hope that it's going to impact those lives that we've promised Bob that it would.
Nothing ever comes out of this. The one thing that we were praying for is that I could be my testimony to somebody else, could change somebody else. He would say, job well done, and be it whatever happens with me happens. So I hope this does actually touch people. You can't do it by yourself. You have to have people to help. I know too many people that aren't here today because they did it by themselves and they did it their own way. You gotta have people